Today we're making shrimp tempura sushi. I made this not too long ago for a client video and my wife and I absolutely loved it. So today I'm gonna do a long form video on YouTube so you guys can enjoy it as well. Now what tempura sushi is, it's essentially either a vegetable or a meat that's deep fried, so it's a cooked form of sushi, not raw like you typically see in sushi restaurants. This is an excellent roll for somebody who's just getting into sushi or if you don't like to eat raw fish. Without further ado, let's get to cooking. I know making your own sushi might sound intimidating, but it's actually pretty easy to do and it's quite fun. All great sushi is going to start off with a good quality rice. The good news is you can find this at most grocery stores. Just for the best results, buy something that says sushi rice on the package. Now to a rice cooker, we're going to add about 3 cups of our sushi rice, then bring it over to the sink to give it a wash and rinse. You want to wash the rice until the water runs clear and then you're ready to go. Now if you don't have a rice cooker, you could just cook the rice in a pot, but a rice cooker is going to give you the best results and they're fairly inexpensive. While the rice cooks, in a bowl we're going to combine a third cup of rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a big pinch of salt. Give that a mix until the sugar is dissolved, and we're going to set that aside and we'll use it to cut our rice here in a minute. Now once the sushi rice is cooked, let it cool slightly and then you're going to add it to a large bowl. Break up the rice nice and gentle, you don't want to smush it, and then once it's broken up, you're going to add all your vinegar to the rice, making sure it's evenly distributed throughout. Then you're going to take your rice paddle and then slice through the rice nice and even to just give it a nice mix. I didn't want to overcomplicate things, just keep it nice and simple. This is the easiest way to do it. Now we're going to move on to prepping some of our sushi ingredients before we move on to the shrimp. Some of the staples you're going to need to actually make sushi is some nori or sheets of seaweed, some pickled ginger, wasabi paste, and I like to use some optional togarashi. So the first thing we're going to do is cut up our cucumber. You want to get the cucumber into 4-inch sections, and then you're going to cut around the seeds and then cut the cucumber into little sticks. Then discard the seeds and set the cucumber aside. Next, we're going to finely shred up some purple cabbage. Now this is optional, but I do like the color, the crunch, and the flavor it provides. Lastly, we're going to cut up some avocado. Now do not skip this. Avocado is a staple in many sushi rolls, including this one. You're going to scoop out the flesh of the avocado, slice it nice and thin, and a pro tip, make sure you do this just before you roll your sushi. It'll help with some of the oxidation. Now let's move on to making a spicy mayo that's going to add a ton of flavor to our sushi. To a bowl, add a half a cup of mayonnaise, a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of rice wine vinegar, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of sriracha, and 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Season with salt, pepper, and optional MSG. Give it a mix and then place it in the fridge until you're ready to use. Now let's move on to making our tempura batter. To a large bowl, add a half a cup of cornstarch, a half a cup of flour, a big pinch of salt, and 1 egg. Now what you're going to do is take about 1 cup of sparkling water, drizzle it in nice and slow while you're whisking, and you're looking for the consistency to be like a thin pancake batter. Not too thin and not too thick. It should just cover your vegetables or protein with a thin layer of batter. Once we get the right consistency, we're going to place it in the fridge for around 20 minutes while we prep our shrimp. Now there's a few things we have to do to the shrimp. The first thing is make sure that they're deveined, and then we have to deshell them. To make it easy, you can always buy deveined and deshelled shrimp. The other thing we have to do is make sure that the shrimp lays flat in our sushi rolls. Shrimp has a tendency to curl up when cooked, and we want to prevent that by cutting into the sushi halfway every half inch or so. By doing this, it's going to help prevent the shrimp from curling up when we go to cook it, and it's going to give a better presentation when we slice our sushi rolls. Repeat the process with the rest of your shrimp, then place them in a large bowl and set aside. Now let's move on to battering and frying our shrimp. I almost forgot, you want to season the shrimp with a little bit of salt and pepper and then give it a mix before you fry. Now in a large Dutch oven or deep fryer on medium-high heat, fill no more than halfway up with vegetable oil. Heat the oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, then dip each piece of shrimp in the batter and then fry the shrimp for around 1 to 2 minutes or until cooked. The shrimp is going to cook very fast, so don't overcook it. Then you're going to drain it on a wire rack and repeat the process with the rest of your shrimp. Alright, so lastly, all we have left to do is roll up our sushi rolls. So we're going to take our sushi mat and wrap it with a little bit of plastic wrap, and then we're going to add a 6x8 piece of nori on the bottom of the mat. Now a pro tip here is with very wet hands, form the rice into a football, then add it to the nori directly in the center and spread it out nice and evenly and gently. Then on top of the rice, we're going to go down with a few dashes of our togarashi, and then we're going to flip it over onto the rice side. Now we'll add a nice thin layer of our spicy mayo, a few avocado slices, 2 sticks of cucumber, some cabbage, and then 2 pieces of shrimp with the tails facing out. Now using the mat, you're going to fold it over halfway, nice and tight, and then continue to roll, pressing pressing firmly to seal it. Place it into the center of the board and then place the mat back on it and press firmly to form it. All right, so we're gonna do this one more time just so you can see how it's done. Add the nori to the bottom, followed by the rice, spread it out nice and evenly, and you can always fill in the holes with a little more rice if you need to. Then we're gonna hit it with some togarashi and then flip it over on the rice side. We're gonna add some of our spicy mayo, followed by a few avocado slices, cucumber, and cabbage. Next, we're gonna add 2 pieces of our tempura shrimp with the tails facing outward. Then we're gonna roll the sushi halfway, keeping it nice and tight, then rolling it another halfway to seal it. Then bring it to the center of the board, place the mat back on it to form it. Now repeat the process with the rest of your sushi. So using a very, very sharp knife, you're gonna go ahead and cut your rolls in half one time, and place them together and cut them into 6 even pieces. Now, if you want smaller sushi rolls, you can cut them into 8, but make sure you have a very sharp knife or else you're gonna end up smushing the roll and it's gonna fall apart. All right, let's get ready to serve it up. We're gonna plate up all our sushi on a large plate. Then we're gonna add some pickled ginger, some wasabi, and serve it with some soy sauce. Now all that's left to do is dive in, and I hope you guys give it a try. Enjoy. There you have it. We made shrimp tempura sushi. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see me cook next. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give me a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.